My name's David Pritchard, and I was born on the 29th of December 1936.
You were a lighthouse keeper for how long?
Oh, 2 or 3 years, I don't recall now how many years. In the 60s it was, anyway, down south on the Penzance district. I came down from Harwich down to Blackwall in London. From there, back down to Plymouth, and I got a letter then, or a telegram I think it was, to go down to the Penzance depot to report. No, that's right, I had to wait in Plymouth, and then I got this message to go to Start Point. That was my first lighthouse. And I remember going from the bus station in Plymouth, catching this big green bus out, King something. And it was an awful long journey then, by taxi, down to the, lighthouse itself. Like it seemed miles and miles. I don't suppose it was really, but that was the impression I got, miles and miles of going over these hills, I eventually landed there, and it seemed an awfully barren place, but, that was it. It was a nice little lighthouse, shore station, of course. Recollection I have of that. I had a very nice time in there, everyone was friendly and, taught you, if you were going wrong or whatever. Everybody got on fine. Like, used to get a car once a week, I think, to take you down to the nearest little town, King something, I can't think of the name of it. I used to go in there and do your shopping, and then the taxi take you back. That was my first station, and I went down back home to Plymouth. Got a call then down to the Longships, and that was my first rock. I was a bit apprehensive, going down to the depot in Penzance and ordering these stores in the shops in Penzance, packing them away in big barrels, these big red barrels. And of course you had orders for whoever had been left on the lighthouse that couldn't get ashore himself. So you had to take his scare as well, and you felt that extra sense of responsibility for his stuff, and get that about the Stella. And then out you would go, but for the, what's it called? The Longships lighthouse, you had to go to a little village in there, and the local boatman, he would take you out. And sometimes, a particular time I went, it was winter time anyway, you had to jump, he'd go in so close, and then you had to jump for it. And I remember there was a rickety old bridge in there, It must have had bad weather for a long time. They hadn't been able to get down there to, clean it, with a bit of lime and things like that, scrub it off. So you had to make a dash, and you didn't know what to do, whether to try and walk along this thing or take a jump, hoping you could clear it. It looked dangerous either way, Anyway, we made a landing there, but he didn't hang around the boatman there. He just got your stuff there and away. But that wasn't a bad station. The old lamps, they had the old oil lamps there, and you had to pump up the pressure, into the tank. They all hand. And it was a terrible strain. And with me being small, his stature, it was very awkward trying to get at this handle. I just couldn't get the leverage the others could get on it, and it would build up so far, and then I seemed to be stuck there, I couldn't get any more pressure in. It was a carry on there. There was a Welsh bloke, he was the PK there. And another lad, Reg, he was an ex-Navy lad. They had cottages there, They were able to, the PK anyway, used to put the telescope along these tanks, where you pumped up the pressure. And there was a little niche in there. You get the telescope in there, and it looks right out the window, and right onto the cottage there. And this missus used to flash the semaphore, with the flags there. And she was very good at it, apparently. She was better than the Coast Guard there, I reckon, at Tolpedden. And Reg's wife, so if there was any messages at all, we used to get a bad reception with the radio there. the signal used to bounce off one of these cliffs or something. So you weren't getting a very good signal there at all. You'd never hear the Eddystone. You'd never hear them. The signals were coming and going off the cliff, and then sometimes stuff from Penzance wouldn't be getting through and that, and they'd go through Penzance radio. But if it was something, well, not too important, shall we say, the PK's wife would just signal semaphore, and you'd get to know what was going on and what have you that way.
And you were on St Anthony's, weren't you?
Yes, I went down St Anthony's as well. That was interesting with the automatic fog signal that they installed in. During the summer months now, the heat would build up, you see. During the day, you'd have the sun on the entrance to the fowl there. And at night, as soon as the sun started to go down a bit, all the heat would come up out of this peat, and ash would go up, sort of thing. And this fog automatic thing, that would pick that up, and off it would go. So you'd have to open it. It was situated, the horn itself, just outside on the landing window. So you had to go in there and bung something in that to stop, to stop it waking up the other lads, like. But it was a fine to do there. And there was a lot of coming and going when it was really first installed. Oh, there was an awful kerfuffle, people were going and coming back, and out the drawings would come and things like that. Anyway, it was sorted out, but I don't think it was too successful there. They cut a lot of it out, but I think they still had their problems with it. Like everything else, I think, yeah. That went automatic, all right, we go, and then when they do go around, they go around there.
You were on the Wolf as well?
Wolf, that was a nice, I liked the Wolf, I'll be quite honest. It was a nice, easy little station to run, and well, at least that was my impression of it. And you had the nice landing there, a fair old length on that. So you could run about when you were landing or going ashore, like bringing coal and water and that sort of thing aboard. It was quite a nice station, that one. Lonely, and of course you would get, some bad weather up there. You never knew when you would get off. We'd be due to go, but it could be a week, 2 there, sometimes 3 weeks, with the bad weather.
So it was boat reliefs there on the winch?
Yes, that's right. You'd have to rig up first there. Used to come down, bring all the stuff down from the lighthouse, put like a mast up, and a derrick and block and tackle and that, get all that rigged up, little winch, hand, get everything ready, and away you'd go as soon as the boat came. Like, went bad, of course you get ducked coming in. It was only natural. There used to be a swell, but I found it a lovely little station. I like the Wolf. You could fish there. And the PK there, he used to have the Kite, Robbie Robinson. He used to have a little kite and the feathers on the end of it. And out he'd go on the landing on the lighthouse itself, up in the gallery there. And out would go the kite. And then he'd be in the kitchen. And he'd shout out, coming up, like, and there'd be these fish, like, right up to the window there, and then you'd pull the line in, drop them in the sink, unhook, see, out the window again, and just shout, yeah, okay. And away you'd go again, fly the kite out, like, and then land it in the water. And then he'd be pulling, and just to get a bit of lift on the kite so that the feathers would be going in the water, Yeah. And they'd be like that. Oh, I'd be no time at all. You'd have a couple of dozen fish. Yeah, right into the kitchen window. It was great fun. And there was another keeper, Dave Knight. He used to buy the fresh pilchard, in Penzance, and bring his rod. And there was a couple of holes there that you could cast into. If you could cast into them, he used to catch some beautiful bream in there, lovely pink, And that would be a nice meal. Dave went about. And John Sheppy, he was a baker before he came, so he was all right. He'd make nice bread and that, cakes. We lived well there.
The storms on the Wolf. You said he broke a window or something?
Oh, that was, yeah, it was a bad one there. The whole place was shaking, yeah. Cracked the glass up in the lamp room, you know. They wouldn't have it in Penzance there. Oh, no, you know. But it was solid. You see it green there. Really right up, you know, past, like, where you lived, your little living room and that. And we were in there, and you'd see the windows full there. Green, you know, solid green there. That was a bad night.
Was that scary?
It was a bit, but then again, in a way, you know, well, scary when you think of it now, I suppose, and at the time, the actual shaking, you know, it was something new, or new to me. But when you looked at the drawings and things of these lighthouses, the way they'd been built and dovetailed, you know, the granite and that, it take an awful lot, you know, to really shift them.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the Torrey Canyon there when she ran aground. They're in the lamp room when the aeroplanes were coming in, you know, the jets with the napalm, yeah, trying to burn it. But that was quite a kerfuffle then. There, you could see it. Oh, there was an awful lot of coming and going and messages flying around. Of course, there was an awful stink, you know, from the oil itself, because it came right round the lighthouse, like, you know, round the Wolf there. You couldn't open the window very well. With this sulphur, you know, in the air all the time, like. But that was an experience, you know, and they took photographs, and we were given a set. The RAF there, there's a naval air station there, yeah, cool draws.
Yeah.
They took photographs, and apparently the crew of the Torrey Canyon were given a set, and we had a set on the Wolf there. And I don't know what happened to mine. I think I lent it out to an uncle of mine, and I never saw them again. It was a nice set of pictures, yeah. Black and white, like, but, you know, it was a nice set. Beautifully, clearly defined, you know.
Yeah.
Pictures are very nice.
You were telling me about, I think, your granddad being a stonemason?
Oh, a stonemason, yeah. Mental mason. He was apprenticed with his brother, he was, yeah.
And he did a gravestone in Amlwch cemetery?
Yeah, there's a huge lighthouse there. I think that's his work. And there's a huge angel thing there as well. And according to my mother, man, she was only a child herself, he was doing something around this thing that's been put up or in, you know, and something was wrong. He was putting some mortar or something, whatever it was. And the thing collapsed, apparently, you know, fell over, and it hit him on his head, back of his head. And he died 3 days later. He was all right, sort of thing. He was walking about and that. And he'd gone down to the vaults in Amlwch Port. I had a pint. And he's drinking this pint when he collapsed. And I reckon it was a hemorrhage, like, you know, hemorrhage in the brain that killed him, yeah. Yeah, stoned that he was. Poor man.